The night was thick with tension as the fluorescent lights of St. Mary's Hospital buzzed above the delivery ward, casting a pale glow over the room where chaos had erupted. Nurses darted back and forth, their voices sharp with urgency, while the beeping of monitors grew faster, each alarm a reminder of the fragile line between life and death. On the bed lay Lila, a young woman barely in her 20s, her face drained of color, strands of hair plastered against her sweat-drenched forehead as she gripped the rails with trembling hands. Her labor had begun hours earlier, brutal, nothing about it was normal. Her contractions came in violent waves, irregular and unpredictable, leaving even the most experienced doctors bewildered. The monitors displaying her vitals flickered strangely, her pulse rising and falling in unnatural rhythms, almost as if her body were keeping time to a hidden pattern no one could decipher. Her blood pressure is crashing, one nurse shouted, and the lead physician barked orders, his voice tight with panic, his eyes darting between the machines and the young woman who gasped for air. Every attempt to stabilize her seemed futile, and whispers spread through the staff about the unusual complications that had shadowed her pregnancy from the very beginning. Some recalled how previous scans had failed to capture a clear image of the child, while others murmured about the faint heartbeat that had always seemed just beyond the reach of their instruments. Yet now, as Lila arched her back with a cry that echoed down the sterile hallway, all doubts gave way to raw urgency. This child was coming, ready or not. The medical team braced themselves, instruments in hand, but what followed left them frozen in disbelief. With one final surge, a piercing cry filled the room, silencing the alarms and the frantic shuffling of feet. A baby had been born, but as the doctor caught sight of the small figure cradled in his trembling hands, his face drained of color. The room that had moments before been filled with shouting now fell into stunned silence, broken only by the ragged breaths of Lila and the faint hum of machines. The nurses exchanged wide-eyed glances, their expressions caught between awe and fear, and even the most stoic among them could not suppress the chill running down their spine. Something was terribly different about this birth, something no one in that room had ever seen before, and as the infant's first cries echoed through the ward, the doctors themselves could not stop the screams that tore from their throats. For a long moment, the delivery room was suspended in an eerie silence, the sterile air heavy with disbelief, until the first startled cries of the newborn shattered it like glass, but instead of the wailing one might expect, the sound carried a strange resonance, a melodic vibration that seemed to echo in the very walls, sending chills through everyone present. The infant, slick with birth yet impossibly radiant, emitted a faint glow that pulsed softly from its chest, illuminating the doctor's trembling hands as though he were holding a fragment of the sun. Nurses stumbled back in shock, one dropping her instruments with a clatter that rang through the stunned quiet, while another crossed herself, whispering prayers under her breath as if she were witnessing something divine or forbidden. The head physician, a man with decades of experience and a reputation for calm under pressure, could not mask the terror in his eyes as he whispered hoarsely, this isn't possible. Lila, still weak but conscious, turned her head toward her child, her lips curling into a faint, exhausted smile that defied the fear gripping the room. I told you, she murmured, her voice barely audible, my baby is different. Her words sent another ripple through the staff, and the glow intensified briefly before fading into a soft warmth, leaving behind a child who looked utterly human yet carried an unsettling stillness in her gaze. The baby's eyes, wide open far earlier than any newborn's should be, glimmered with a strange awareness, as though she were not just seeing the world for the first time but recognizing it. The doctors exchanged frantic glances, torn between medical duty and primal fear, their minds scrambling for explanations that refused to come. Some whispered of genetic mutations, others of miracles, but none dared say aloud the truth pressing against their chests, that they had witnessed something beyond science. The child's breathing steadied, her tiny fists curling and uncurling as her soft hum quieted into silence, and the oppressive tension in the room gave way to a fragile awe, the kind that comes only when the impossible unfolds before one's eyes. Lila cradled her daughter as tears streamed down her cheeks, her exhaustion giving way to fierce, protective love, while the staff stood rooted in place, unable to look away, knowing that nothing in their lives, or in the world, would ever be the same again.